How's it going, people? I'm about to do something very silly, very sketchy, and something I highly don't recommend you do. And that is try and drive a potentially broken Mazda MX-5 around about 15 miles. So I'm going to try and get the car to my dad's garage so that we can get it fixed. I think that the diff is dropping oil. We just changed the diff to a Torsen LSD. I'm pretty sure it's dropping oil. I'm not sure exactly how much and what the extent of the damage could be, but I really don't want to break down between here and my dad's garage. But I have little to no choice. I need the car fixed as soon as possible. I need to make sure that the diff is okay. It's gonna be a sketchy one, so stick with me, and hopefully the next time you see me talking, I'm at my dad's garage and we're getting the diff fixed. Let's get it. Okay, so not good news. Now, I'm not very good at this. We made it all the way to my dad's garage. That's great. He's not here. The bad news is he's not here yet, so I don't know why he's not here. I'm actually working today, so I'm literally on my laptop working at the same time as sitting here recording this. But ignoring that for a moment, the car did make it. However, the diff is on ropes. Honestly, like, you pull it in first gear and if you give it anywhere like too much beans, yeah, the car is suffering. You can hear it. And if you let the car jerk at all, like when you let off the throttle and you let it jerk, someone's having some fun behind me. If you let the car jerk at all, it is the most horrendous noise. And so that only happened maybe once or twice in the entire journey, so I'm quite proud of myself. I drove over an hour to get here, and in that time, I only really put the diff in danger twice based on sound. It was probably in danger the whole way. I am also sweating like a madman. I didn't take my roof off because it was just so hot today that I literally didn't even want to take the roof off. So yeah, glad that we got the car here. Now, hopefully we can get the car sorted when my dad decides to turn up to work. I mean, what a part-timer, right? But to give you some of the backstory, last week I went go-karting, and on my way back from go-karting, I had just the most horrendous noise when I got off the motorway. I got off the motorway and I was just hearing these clunks, these horrible clunks that did not sound very good. It sounded like it could have been diff, sounded like it could have been whatever. I didn't really know. It could have been just metal under the car because I hit some speed bumps that the car didn't like at all. So I was a bit like, how's the car feeling? How's it going? Yeah, so it was a bit of a mess. And then I stopped the car, didn't have a jack at my new place, so I couldn't even jack the car up to take a look at what was up. So I left it for a few days, ordered a jack from Halfords, got under the car, and what I saw under there was not very nice. Basically shed loads of oil all over the exhaust pipe, all over the rear ARB. Yeah, basically oil everywhere behind the diff. So basically what's probably happening somewhere is that the diff is dropping oil. I've got my dad here at some point to look at the car, let me know whether or not that's actually happening, and yeah, just give me an overview of what's going to happen next, I suppose, because I have no idea. I'm supposed to be at a track day soon as well, so, and I'm supposed to be at go-karting in this weekend. Bro, I need a car. Hopefully he drives my Polo down here so I can drive that back, otherwise maybe in trouble. Now, there will be some voiceover for me in this video, and this is literally just my dad arriving at the garage, getting under the car and starting to work out what the problem is. Okay, so we have isolated the issue in seconds, my dad has. So effectively, the diff is actually okay. There is obviously oil from the diff here, so it is leaking some oil to some degree, so we're gonna have to watch that. But the diff itself is actually hanging free, so the bracket that holds it in place, that bracket has broken inside of the car. So it's able to move back and forth, and so the big clunking sound I was hearing was the diff moving back and forth and hitting off the chassis. So yeah. Not ideal, but we're going to try and weld that and strengthen it up as well, so that should be okay. And look at which car Dad turned up in today. The absolute beaut. She's back again. Yeah, I honestly had her in London actually for the last however many months, but I've taken the MX-5 back just for a little bit to enjoy it over the summer with great weather like this. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, probably should have just kept it, to be honest. That one is being a lot more hassle than it needs to be. So having understood what the issue was, we jacked up the bottom of the car and jacked up where the diff was to try and get the bracket in place so that it could be welded back together. Now, this didn't work, unfortunately, mostly because it was the wrong type of welder, but the idea was to try and get everything aligned and then weld it back into place. Obviously this didn't work, so instead we had to take out that bracket from the car. And so here you can see the problem. On this side here, you can see that this is supposed to be all in place, lovely, and you can see this is, but on this side you can see it is completely gone, and there it is. So what was happening is that had broken off of the car there, and therefore the diff was moving quite freely. And as you can see, this was actually also starting to crack here, so that's going to need to be welded too. So then, having worked out what the problem was, it was a case of getting the areas that needed to be welded nice and clean, because obviously it's covered in grime from being under the car for what, 20 odd years, 23, 24, 25, 25 years? Mad, 25 years under the car. So yeah, super dirty under there. So I have to clean it out so that it can actually be welded. That's both on both sides as well. As I showed you there was the crack on the left hand side and the right hand side of it. So one of it's completely sheared off, and the other side it was starting to crack under the pressure, I assume, of holding the entire diff on its own. So yeah, you can see cleaning it up, and then once we've done that, jumping over to the MIG welder to weld it into place. So welding the side that was slightly loosened first, because it was easier to do, and then after that it was going to be a case of lining up the second piece, which was quite difficult to do, but once it was lined up, we could then weld that into place as well. I've said it before, but it's always great fun watching my dad work. He's been a car mechanic for longer than I've been alive, and so watching how he problem solves and deals with these kinds of different issues one after the other is really, really cool to see. So yeah, as always, he worked out the problem, sorted it out, and then here you can see those welds in place. Not the most beautiful welds in the world, but they were just nice and easy to get some strength in there, trying to get as much material in there as possible to strengthen up each side before then grinding it back on the inside so that the diff would slip back into place. Then it was literally just a case of putting it back onto the car, attaching it to the diff, which all happened nice and easily, taking it for a little test drive where of course I was able to send the car in whatever gear I wanted, and it wasn't making any major noises or anything, nothing out of the ordinary, so back to normal and back to full health, and then finally head on my way home and pray that in the hour and 40-minute drive that it was going to take at that time of day to get home, that nothing would go wrong. So we made it all the way back home again after all of those troubles. So fortunately, as you saw, it wasn't as big of an issue as I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought that that was my brand new, well I say brand new to me diff just giving up the ghost and then chucking loads of oil out. So I thought that was going to be a big problem, but actually the bracket's not the end of the world. If it breaks again, then I've got a spare one of those parts anyway sitting back at my parents' house, so I'll just go and get that, put that under the car, and then yeah, perfect. It should be absolutely fine, basically. There was a little rattle on the way home. I assume something's just not done up properly under the car, so that's fine. I can jack it up, check what's going on under there, do it up myself. That's not a big problem. But yes, I am very lucky to have a mechanic for a dad who can very quickly sort these things out. So yeah, the benefits of being the son of a car mechanic. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog style video. I wanted to show you guys obviously the good and the bad of owning very cheap cars, and that's one of the things that can obviously go wrong. Wear and tear and time and hitting speed bumps too hard and too aggressively changing gears or whatever can lead to that kind of strain going through those parts of the car and then end up with them cracking. In this case, that's obviously what happened. I think I'm probably going to guess that it happened over some speed bumps, that it was already a little bit weak and then it got speed bumped out of here. So I think that's probably what caused it, because on the way into Rye House there are some horrible speed bumps, and I think those might have been too aggressively taken by me. But this now means I can carry on to do my video at some point about how great it is to have a Torsen LSD in an MX-5. It is really, really good. So I will make a video on that at some point. But yeah, that's sometime for the future. If you want to see that video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like as well if you haven't already and you enjoyed this kind of video. Massive thanks to the patrons, always their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.